Do you remember as a kid taking that world globe and holding it on its axis and like spinning it as fast as you possibly can? Well, I was that kid that would spin the globe and then get my finger stuck in the axe. Yeah. All right. Our guest, Dave, who is, shall we say, left his successful company to pursuing the spreading of the truth about the world. He hosts a podcast called Flat Earth Podcast and creator of Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac. It's a clock app. David has the ability to take anyone from a ridiculous, because beyond most of us, I would say, think that the world is round. Let's find out from Dave what's going on and what's really going on and why the world as we know it may not be spinning, wobbling on its axis and is not this ball in this infinity of vacuum. It is my pleasure to welcome David to the show. David, before we get things started, I'm just going to say it out loud and what I'm thinking. How the hell could the world be flat?
Mario, I have to say, by the time we're done with this, you're going to be going, how the hell could I ever have believed in the spinning globe in a space vacuum? Because it's the dumbest thing ever. The idea that the Earth is a globe spinning in an infinite vacuum with another bigger globe gas ball that we call the sun that's magically holding it with gravity. And it's holding it so perfectly that you can predict where it and all of the other so-called planets are going to be anytime into the future or the past. Okay. That's impossible. It's ridiculous.
Are you sure? Okay.
So listen, I'm with you. You've been programmed since before you could talk. Your parents probably had a mobile above your crib with planets on it. Okay. Because
or bears or something, right?
Well, yeah. And kids, teachers have globes in the classroom. Everything is globe. Every movie's globe. Every cartoon. It's all about, about this heliocentric nonsense that we live in. And that's the foundation of your world, which really means you have no foundation. You're spinning out of control, lost in space. Right?
When did you get started? When did you, as maybe you would say to us, get unstuck, stupid? When did you actually start thinking for yourself in this world? When did you become like, yes, the world is flat?
I thought I was open-minded. I was doing a conspiracy podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, and we looked into everything, right? Hey, Dave, have you checked out this, checked out the marathon thing? That there's something suspicious there. Let me look into it. Boom. Let me look into it. Then somebody would say, hey, Dave, have you ever looked into flat Earth? Watch this video. I would delete the email, right? Then they'd post it on, someone else would post it on my Facebook. Not only would I delete it, I'd ban them for life, okay? For even being so
really?
Banned for life. I invented that term, by the way. Banned for life. And I wouldn't look at any of it because we all know we live on a spinning ball. The Greeks figured it out 2,000 years ago, right? Well, that's wrong. That's a lie. And I'm going to show you that's a lie. But here's the thing. We've also been programmed to not know what the heliocentric model is that we believe in, that we so much defend. Like, I'm going to ask you some questions and see if you know the answers. Very simple questions. How many times does the Earth spin in one day?
Well, I mean, wait, what? How many times does
how many times does the Earth go around in one day?
24 hours?
Yeah. Very easy question. Answer it. No trick.
It's 20. How many times? It's
how many times? How many rotations does the Earth make in 24 hours?
24?
Yeah. No, one. It goes around once.
Okay, yeah.
It goes around once. How far is the sun?
Billions of miles away.
93 million. Okay. How far is the moon? No idea, right? Right. So people don't know. So how fast is the sun? Are we orbiting the sun? How fast is our orbit? We go around once a year, but how many miles per hour is that?
Great question. How many?
66,600. Funny number, huh? 66,600. You'll find a lot of 666 numbers in this heliocentric.
Why?
Well, they love their numerology. They love lots of stuff. How fast is it chasing the sun? Did you know that we're chasing the sun? The sun's trying to get away from all the planets, but they're all racing after it. Over 500,000 miles per hour. Okay.
Okay.
So we're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, 24,000 miles around, once around a day. At the equator, we're moving about 1,000 miles an hour. We're orbiting at 66,600 miles an hour. We're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour. And to make it worse, that entire system's moving sideways at NASA can't even decide. It's millions of miles per hour. Okay. All of these motions are happening, and we're taught we're too small to even notice. That's nonsense. Good.
We have Dave Weiss from the podcast, the Flat Earth Podcast, joining us here on the show. Let's continue our conversation as you educate myself and the rest of our listeners about the world being flat.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, please.
We have all those motions, and we have lakes that are perfect mirrors, right? Large bodies of water at rest lay flat. So getting back to the beginning a little, I jump forward a little bit, is they don't know, globers or globs, I call them, don't know their own model, and what they think flat Earth is absolutely ridiculous, right? If I thought flat Earth was this, a disc floating in space, I would laugh at flat earthers because that's ridiculous. No flat earther thinks that. Only globe believers believe flat Earth researchers believe this. This is mind programming. It's if you Google flat Earth, you end up at the Flat Earth Society. You end up at government-run sites, which is the Flat Earth Society. We're not from the Flat Earth Society. The Flat Earth Society is a government-run site of disinformation to make you laugh at flat Earth and never look at it again. Just go there, and you'll say, "Oh, flat Earth is ridiculous," and then you'll quit. Well, if we're not that, we're not a disk floating in a heliocentric ball universe, or even with a whole bunch of other pancake planets out there. We're not. So what is the flat Earth? And the answer is, picture the Earth as an extended plane, the basement of the universe. Those are the best words I have for it. It's the basement of the universe. And somewhere within that plane, I don't know how big it is. It's just a lengthy plane. There's a pond. A pond is a low spot in the land. The edge of the pond is where the land is higher than the water. And that pond we call Earth. This is our known world. And out here, all of the stuff beyond this shoreline of our pond is Antarctica. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. Did you know that?
I do now.
Okay. So it's the container of our pond, right? All of the islands, all of the continents are surrounded by water, and all of the water has a container. That container is the basin, the Antarctic basin. Antarctica is the basin of our world. If you're swimming in a lake and I made the edges of the lake disappear, well, all the water is going to disappear too. Water, large bodies of water at rest need a container. That container is Antarctica. Antarctica is likely bigger than all of the oceans and all of the continents combined. They're trying to tell us that Antarctica is this little continent at the bottom of a ball, 13,000 miles around, when in fact, Antarctica is the shoreline that surrounds our world pond.
See, as we're sitting here having a conversation with David Weiss from the podcast, the Flat Earth Podcast, thank you for coming on the show this evening to chat about the planet.
The reality of our plane.
Because most of us grew up thinking of the Earth being a globe and the Antarctica being at the bottom, this little island, as you were just describing. If you're out here listening, you're like, what? And everyone right now is probably scratching their head, but continue.
Because I'm gonna, and just to keep everyone's interest, I'm gonna offer at the end of the show, I'm offering 2 Bitcoins for anybody that can give me 1 proof of the globe. But the stipulation is you have to listen to this podcast because I'm going to cover the things that you think are going to be proofs. And then 2, at the end, I give you a challenge. And if you take it, you can win 2 Bitcoins just for 1 proof of the globe. Just one. Okay. And I can guarantee you're not going to win. But I will be fair. If you come up with a proof of the globe, the 2 Bitcoins are yours.
Wow.
Let's look at
my friends. That is not a affiliation of U.S. Phenomenon. That's on their podcast, the Flat Earth podcast, and David Weiss's responsibility. So
that is my responsibility. David Weiss offering 2 Bitcoins for your listeners. Anyone that can come up with one proof of the spinning globe. Okay, just one. So let's look at one of my favorite things to talk about is flight routes. Right, flight routes don't make sense on a globe. Well, northern flight routes do because they're very similar on a globe versus a flat Earth. But there's issues with the routes that flights take. For example, if you want to go from Santiago, Chile to Australia, you go up and across and all the way down. If you want to go to Western Australia, you know, I've been looking at this backwards and I thought we were going to Europe, but it's not Europe. It goes up all the way across over here to, I think that's China and Japan. And it comes down. This is this crazy route. Why would they go all the way there instead of just cutting across the bottom of the ball? And the answer is because the Earth is flat. You go all the way up across America, over to China, Japan, and Australia. It's a straight line because airplanes fly straight and level over the Earth plane. That's why they're called airplanes.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense, right?
This would be the shortest trip right here. Bam, bam, right across. But no one has ever done that. You know, circumnavigation, billions of people have gone east and west. 0 people have gone south-north.
Is it due to
the fact that the Earth is flat?
Or how about the communication? Could that be it as well?
Absolutely not. So here's how it works. At the center of our Earth pond, we have a magnetic center. I call it, I think there's a mountain there. It's a magnetic mountain. And if you look at this compass, I'm pushing it east. But what am I doing? I'm not going in a straight line. I'm turning. I have to turn because that compass always has to point towards the magnetic center. So east is a circle. I'm going west. West is a circle, and now I'm going east. East is a circle equidistant from the magnetic center. Doesn't prove the Earth is flat because it's the same on a globe. You always have to correct to the north on the globe in the northern hemisphere. But if I try to dead reckon straight, watch what happens. If I go west, immediately I'm going south. Every straight line is south. South is every direction away from the center. So I can't point west. If I wanted to point west, I'm pointing south. If I wanted to point east, I'm pointing south. South is every direction away from the center. East and west are circles. If I want to point east, east curves off and south is that way. If I point north, as soon as I pass the North Pole, I'm heading south. I just went south here. Now I'm going north, 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 north. And I have a little magnet problem here. And as soon as I pass the North Pole, I'm heading south, 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 south. Every straight line is south. Mind-blowing, huh?
It is mind-blowing. We're sitting here having a conversation with Dave Weiss from the podcast, the Flat Earth podcast. Thank you for joining us on the show. We have a couple minutes before we have to go to the bottom of the hour, but let's continue. We have a couple minutes. Let's keep it going.
People say, what about sunsets over the ocean? Well, this kind of looks like the sun is setting, but when you zoom in with powerful optics, you'll see that the sun is not setting. It's just going away. These clouds up here are the same height as the clouds over here that all merge with the horizon, and you can't differ the distance between the sun and the horizon. Everything just gets compressed into the horizon, and that's why it looks like the sun was setting, but it's still in the air. It's just going away. And as it goes away, there's a couple things that'll make it disappear. One, it'll go beyond what I call the atmospheric deck of opacity. Other times, here's one. I believe this is in the Far East, the Middle East, but the sun is not going down. It's just super sped up, and it's just clearly going away. It's because there's no moisture in the air. It's super dry, super clear, and Paul McCartney has said it, the fool on the hill sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head see the world spinning around. Here's another one. This is in Bulgaria. And you watch, does that look like, when you watch the sunset, if you believe you live on a ball, you believe you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound and the sun staying still. That's what you believe. You believe you're falling over backwards, which makes it look like the sun is going down, when in fact, the sun is clearly just going away.
So when the sun, as we watch the sun, for those who are listening via the radio show and it disappeared there, it looks like it leaves. Obviously, it's like furthering away in the distance. So it's getting smaller if you're listening to us have a conversation here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The other thing is, depending on the atmospheric conditions, it's different. Sometimes it gets smaller. Sometimes as it goes away, the atmosphere magnifies it because there's moisture in the air. So it's magnifying it while it's getting smaller. And it's kind of like a wash. It doesn't really get any smaller, but you can clearly see that the sun just goes away. Got it?
Yes.
There's when we look at the sun, what's it gonna do? I had another one for you. There's also looking into the sky to figure out the shape of the earth is not the right thing to do. Look below your feet. I mean, we can measure distances on earth that are too far. People say, what about boats over the horizon? Well, if you look, you don't see a boat on this horizon, but as I zoom in, all of a sudden you'll see a boat right here, right? And your eyes have lost sight of it because your vision, you can't see things when their angular size gets small. So as I back out, we can pretend the boat's just going away. It's the same thing. And you'll watch the boat disappear from the bottom up. And that just has to do with angular resolution, a thing that I call the wave front edge. The horizon is always at your eye level, no matter where you are. And then the boat disappears, and a glob would say that it went over the horizon. But in fact, it just got too far to see, too small to see.
When we come back, because we're getting close to the bottom of the hour, when we come back, I want to talk about if we live in this container that is flat. How does someone I want to know, how do you take someone like myself and the rest of us who believe or have been trained to believe that the earth is a globe, and the websites that are out that are led by the government to show us misinformation? How does this play out for us? Because you said the information that's out there about earth being flat. How do we accept the world not being as a flat earth? I want to know that coming back from the break. How does that look for us? And then finish explaining to us what the hell we've been taught for the last
You've been taught the sinister trick of the soul lure system. They're trying to steal your soul. They're trying to take away your divinity. They're trying to make you feel small and insignificant and live in fear, so you never use your true manifestation abilities.
When we come back, we'll check in with Karis Astrology Karis Astrology will be up next. We'll talk with Jay will have what the hell does Jay have? Oh, the paranormal story of the week. And we'll check in with Quentin Anton. We'll be back. It is U.S. Phenomenon. Three, two, one. Welcome back to the show. Thank you, Jay, for your story. For our, what the hell is it? Our paranormal story of the week. I'll have to go back and edit that. So we have been, if you haven't been listening, we've been chatting with Dave Weiss from the podcast, The Flat Earth. He also runs some other amazing apps that we all should be downloading. Can you explain these apps as we continue this conversation? And for those of us who believe that the world is a globe, will you continue to explain to us and re-educate us on what the hell we've been taught? The
Helio sinister trick soul lure system. We'll finish up on that at the end. How much time do we have left?
Oh, you got plenty of time. You got about 20 something minutes.
All right. Awesome. So I developed an app because you can't find this information online. It's hidden. If you Google a moon landing hoax or Earth is flat, you're going to get propaganda. You're going to get nonsense. Even if you type in the exact name of a video that you're looking for, it doesn't show up if it's a real flat Earth video, and they feed you stuff. So you just get tired out, and it's nonsense. So I created this app, and every day on the app, there's a featured video of the day. And then what I tell people is, here's the challenge. Watch the featured video every day for 2 weeks. And after that, if you still think you have a proof of the globe, you can send me your one proof. But before you do, you have to hit this question mark button right here. And that is, it brings you to the frequently asked questions page. What about eclipses? What about seasons? What about ships over the horizon, which I just showed you? If I click what about eclipses, up comes a playlist of videos about eclipses that they don't want you to know. Okay. So this will, and again, I say, don't believe just because you saw it on a video. Go, I never really thought about that. Let me go test it myself. Don't believe anything I say. Go test it yourself.
Why is the government, or why are people hiding information in regards to like the eclipses?
Yeah, there's an eclipse going on Thursday this week that they're not even talking about. It's one of the biggest eclipses we've ever seen. And there is very little information on it because eclipses are really special events. And the elite, they worship, all of these alignments and everything. They're actually doing the cyber polygon the night before. You know what the cyber polygon is?
No, I have no idea. This is why
you know what Event 201 is?
This is why we're coming to you. I have no idea. I'm just hosting the show.
All right. So real quick, because I want to get back to this. Event 201 was just before this whole Rona thing took off. They did a full drill in New York City, saying what would happen if something, this Rona came from China and infected the world. And they ran down all the scenarios, everything that's happened in the last year and a half. Okay. They ran it down. They did it. And then 3 months later, all of a sudden, the thing showed up. So on Wednesday, the day before the eclipse, they're doing Cyber Polygon, which is a full rundown of what would happen if a cyber attack took down the power grid. Day before an eclipse, or going into an eclipse. That is some high energy stuff. All right, getting off of that. The app has tons of stuff. You want to learn about mud floods? Bottom right. Oh my God. If you don't know about mud floods, click that, bring food and water. Books on flat Earth, right? This one about the emergency plane routes. I'll show you one of those in a second that absolutely prove the Earth is flat. And then what else do we got? We have, so I want to show you really quick seasons, then I'll get out of the app. So right now, you're in America?
That's right. We're in Seattle.
You're in Seattle. So we're approaching the height of our summer, to be honest. You'll see the sun is going around this yellow line. This yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer, and the outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn. If I jump the sun 1 month forward, so we're into July, it's pretty much over the Tropic of Cancer. And if I turn on the zodiac, you'll see that the sun is right in the Tropic of Cancer. Across from the Tropic of Cancer is the Tropic of Capricorn. And that's when we have our winter, when the sun is all the way in the Tropic of Capricorn. But right now that it's in the Tropic of Cancer, Australia is having their winter. South America is having their winter, right? Santiago is having, it's the depth of winter right now because the sun is so far away from them. Right now, it's going to go over Miami and Mexico and Southern California. They're having the height of their summer because the sun is directly over their head. It's close. It's like a heat lamp. Okay. And Australia is having their winter. If I jump the sun 6 months forward, the sun goes all the way out to the Tropic of Capricorn, and Australia is having their summer because the heat lamp is directly over them. We're having our winter because the sun is far away from us. Makes perfect sense. Check this out. You know how if you're in the Arctic and you look at the sun, what's it doing? It's arcing around you. Okay. It's arcing around you. If you're out here in the Antarctic, it's no longer arcing around you. It's antarcing away from you.
Okay.
So the words are right there, right in front of us. All right. The app does a ton of other stuff. It has like images. If I showed you, do you believe that men took off from the moon and that paper mache tape and curtain rod contraption that a fifth grader made? That's the actual moon lander. You know that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Garbage. Okay. They're mocking us with how stupid these things are.
So you're saying, so not only are we doing a show in regards to the Earth being flat, you're also now telling me that we never went to the moon.
Yeah, well, let's just destroy NASA. If I show you NASA faking one thing, you can kind of assume they're faking everything. Here's them on the space station playing with a new lemon that just came up in a supply ship. Watch it. It's not really there. It's CGI. It's called augmented reality, right? Their hand goes right through it. It's not really there, right? Sometimes they're using augmented reality. Sometimes they're using, they love their blow up balls, because the blow up ball, you can have it filled with helium. So this is filled with helium, so it's kind of neutrally buoyant. But this wasn't even there a second ago. Watch, I'll show you again. She's talking to a bunch of kids, and Paxi, their little stuffed animal, all of a sudden gets beamed in, and now she's manipulating it. It's not there. It's called augmented reality. She's looking at, either with contact lenses or a screen behind the camera to see where the things are, and she can manipulate them. Okay. Sometimes they're hanging from wires like she is. Sometimes they're on a zero-G plane, and this guy, look, you can see through his head. On a zero-G plane, it's a straight tube. You can have no right-hand turn. So they had to fade him in somehow, like he's coming out of the right. I don't know why they do this. I mean, they're horrible at their CGI.
So what about SpaceX and all that stuff?
I'm going to show you SpaceX. We're going to completely destroy them. And I highly recommend that your listeners go to Greg Reese channel on either BitChute or Odyssey or InfoWars. And he just type in Greg Reese, Elon Musk. He just put out a 5-minute video on Elon Musk showing that everything that man has ever said to us about every company he has ever run is a complete and total lie. He is a puppet for the Illuminati, and he does whatever they say. These guys are hanging from harnesses. Go ahead.
I want to make sure everyone knows who you are. We're talking with Dave Weiss from the Flat Earth Podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. And you know what? I feel like I'm already being educated and stripped down of what what we've been taught.
Let me ask you a question. Is this a real rocket launch or a fake rocket launch? Look how slow this thing is going. Look at this little gas flame coming out of here. This thing weighs millions of pounds. Right? It's floating up into the sky. And look, edit. They never show you one long thing. So look at that. Look at the thing. It's not very high off the ground. You can tell by the angle of the camera, but all of a sudden the onboard one shows that it's way high, right? Look how high it is. And then how does it get a side shot like that? Now watch, this thing is it's free falling. It's over 40 tons. It's falling out of the sky, free falling. Does that look like it's free falling? Look at this smoke coming off of it, this steam. It's just rising off of it. It's barely moving. This is either a balloon filled with helium or it's complete CGI at this point. But watch it land. It's going to turn over. It's going to light its 3 engines. Then 2 of them are going to go out. And then it's going to land, and watch all of the dirt that blows up. Did they forget to sweep the runway? Okay, so watch. Here it goes. It's going to turn on, and this little flame is going to stop 40,000 pounds from falling out of the sky. And who the heck got underneath this thing to film it, right? Watch, two of them are going to go out. 2 of them are going to go out. Look at this little fire. Fire is, look how fast it's moving. You can tell by the smoke. Now watch, look at all the CGI. This is, anyone that knows anything about special effects, this is CGI smoke. And it's landing at a friggin' angle, and it doesn't fall over, okay? And it landed right on the friggin' pad where it took off from. If you believe this is real, you've been successfully brainwashed. This is China landed on Mars the other day. This is the only proof that we landed on Mars. Watch. Cartman and Kyle and then the rest of them are laughing at this. Right? They're clapping, and soon they'll be hugging, and I don't know how you can fake a hug, so it must be real.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean,
I'm kidding. I'm being sarcastic. It's everything that Fake X launches is complete and total nonsense. Here they are. His helium balloon. Oops, he dropped it. He had squeezed some of the helium out of it, and it fell. Why did it fall in zero gravity?
Good question.
Yeah, because they're not in zero gravity. They're in a Hollywood studio, right? These guys had a little glitch. Everything that was floating glitched out right at the end of the stream, and they cut away to mission control. Okay, nothing in the background, nothing in the foreground. Only the things that were floating, that were on the other layer. They're in a green screen studio. Okay. This one.
Go ahead.
One more. This is Chris Hadfield loves playing his guitar, and this guy, no, he's upside down. Well, they're in different rooms. They're in a green screen room, and the guy that's holding the microphone misplaced where Chris was and stuck it right into his neck.
Oh, I hope he's okay.
He's not. He's an idiot. All right. And then think about this. This is the external tank on the space shuttle. By the way, NASA owns all the big helium companies in the world and is the largest consumer of the world's helium, right? This is being filmed by the guys that were on the shuttle that are heading upwards over 17,000 miles an hour. This thing is free falling, 40 tons again, empty, falling back to Earth. Watch, a little tissue is going to blow by here. There it goes. Showing you that this thing is barely moving. How is he filming it? He's shooting up into space, filming down, watching this thing free fall. What kind of zoom lens does he have? How is he keeping it right there? This is a balloon. NASA launches balloons. 4 million pounds on the tape, and a little bit of wind is blowing it around, kind of like it's a balloon.
Wow.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's not from getting ready to take off.
It is, but you don't rock 4 million pounds like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you're about to take off, right? I mean, that,
no,
if I was thinking, like in my old,
it wouldn't rock, and as soon as you have momentum moving up, it wouldn't come back down again, and it does. Right? This is a helium balloon. This is a light show. These external things are giving a little bit of thrust, but that's why it turns over on its back, because this balloon is lighter than this balloon. Okay.
So what happened to those guys in Challenger?
Well, that's a great question. And I don't want to get you a strike on YouTube, but I will. So that was the one time that we don't
publish the YouTube anymore.
Right. They wheeled television to every class. This is called trauma-based mind control, and the way they kick the can down the road for these kids. We found 6 of the 7. They all have identical twins that have the same name, same birthday, and claim to be the identical twin of the other. Okay. And when you hear these people talk, like this one, I think this is Judith. There's a speech. She's a professor at Yale, and she's making a speech. She has all the same, the dimple, the teeth, the expressions, everything. Her voice is exactly the same. And then we heard a speech by her when she was an astronaut, exact same person, same person. Right. This guy, was it this guy or this guy? One of these guys had a company called Trees and Cows or something like that. And we went to their website, and on the opening of the website, they had an animation of a cow taking off like a rocket, leaving a smoke trail. And he does these loop-de-loops, and he does the same pattern that the Challenger had. Okay. And we brought it up. We started making videos about it. Bam, website disappears. Okay. There's so many times that we catch these guys. And here's the funny thing at all. None of their twins showed up at their funerals.
Interesting. We're having a conversation, and we're talking about the world being flat. I want to thank you, David Weiss, from the podcast, the Flat Earth Podcast. Let's get back into the world being flat as we get close to wrapping things up.
Sure.
I want our audience, I want our listeners, people who listen to the show.
Are you familiar with the Georgia Guidestones?
Oh yes, I'm quite well. I have enough knowledge about the Georgia Guidestones.
All right.
I know that that's a compass. It's a time clock.
Right. So you know that Polaris is always through this hole.
That's right.
So how could we be corkscrewing through space, and Polaris, after 40 years, has never moved out of that hole?
That's a great question. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because it's impossible. How about this? A flight from Taiwan to LA, and right about here, there was a medical emergency. Someone's having a baby or a heart attack or something, and they had to land a plane. Where would you land? Here's Hawaii. Here's California. Where would you land?
I guess I would. Well, I'd go to Hawaii.
Probably, or there, or maybe even turn around.
Yeah.
Would you go to Alaska?
No, that's too far.
Well, on a flat Earth map, Taiwan, emergency, Alaska. Hawaii is all the way out here.
Well, I guess you're going to Alaska then.
Because So this is an emergency landing that proves the Earth is flat. It makes no sense on a globe, makes perfect sense on a flat Earth. This book, 16 emergency landings proving flat Earth. Every single time the plane landed thousands of miles out of the way, according to the globe, but was in direct line with with that flight route on a flat Earth. 16 times we've documented it. This is an awesome coffee table book. It's available in the app, by the way, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. You put it on your coffee table, someone picks it up and reads it for 5 minutes, they become a flat earther.
Oh. Well, I guess we're gonna have to download the app. We'll have it linked in the podcast as well.
Sure. So let me quickly tell you about the app. It's available on Google Play for Android 8.0 or higher. It's $2.99. At one-time fee, that's it. And then on Apple, you have to have an iPhone 6 or better, works on iPads. And just read the reviews. If you're unsure about paying $3 for an app, which is less than buying me a beer, and you don't pee it away in 20 minutes, you have it for the rest of your life, then just read the reviews, and that'll turn you into a flat earther. Okay? So the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay on Google Play. There's already a Flat Earth Society by the Ron Media Group who stole my graphics and all sorts of stuff. The app is horrible. So I think it's free too. If you get it, don't send me an email telling me my app sucks, because it doesn't. It's the highest rated app in the App Store and the Google Play Store.
Oh, that's that. I mean, I had to laugh because if you're you must be doing something right if you're being copied.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they don't want this information out, and we'll see what happens next. But, there's certain rules here that they have to abide by. And, the only way they can control you is by fear. The only reason people are doing all of these things that the government is telling them to do. Woo! That was a massive lightning bolt and thunder. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
That hit my yard, it looks like.
I'm surprised you still have power.
I'm waiting for it to go out. That was crazy. It's still rumbling.
So yeah, I mean, you definitely heard it. I mean, you saw you jump too. But I mean, it was like instantaneous lightning. So
yeah,
real quick on the planet being flat, are the other planets are they also in the same?
So when we look at other planets, they used to be called wandering stars. When you look up and see Mars in the sky, it's bright. It's like it's brighter than any star. Well, how's a dusty, dirty ball reflecting sunlight and making it look that bright? Right? We see the pictures that they showed us from Mars, which are nonsense. That light has to travel all the way to the Earth and get brighter. How does that happen? Here's Jupiter, 2.5 years apart. These pictures were taken and none of the clouds moved. None of them. Every cloud is exactly the same. This one's just a little bit lighter. This dot here, it's right there. Everything. They said they photographed the northern lights, which proves that it has a magnetic core. This is nonsense. I don't even want to say Photoshop because it's an insult to Photoshop. I think this is MS Paint they did this in. And they were too lazy to make a new model. They had nothing moved. This is a gaseous planet where these bands are spinning in opposite directions. Complete and total nonsense. When we whizzed by Jupiter, somehow they got this perfect friggin' image of Jupiter, which has this desert kind of shaped like the dog Pluto, which was created the same year Pluto was discovered. All of these coincidences are just a little too much for me. When you look at Earth, what happened to the United States? It's twice the size from one picture to the other, right? There's so many problems with images from space. NASA admits they have no images of Earth. With all of these years of space travel, they can't get any images of Earth. The United States is tiny over here. It's gigantic over here. None of it makes any sense once you really, really look at it. If we look here, so let's do some measurements. We can drive across Mexico and Baja and figure out this is 934 miles. NASA tells us the diameter of the Earth is 7,917 miles. I should take this segment and be able to fit 8.5 of them across the diameter. Well, 8.5 goes all the way out over to here. Okay. So this is a painting. A painting they're telling you is real. A painting. It's nonsense.
Why?
Go ahead.
No, I need to formulate my question correctly, but I'm like, I'll just say it.
Why the lie?
Yeah. Why? What gives?
Well, maybe they're hiding more land. Maybe they're hiding the creator, your spirituality, the more resources, hidden knowledge.
Who would be behind this?
Who's behind it? These are the royal families, the Bilderberg group, the the Council of Foreign Relations, all of these groups, the Trilateral Commission, these are the people that run the world. These are the ruling bloodlines of our world, and they're in the entire world as a stage. They're literally playing us against. All the wars are wars that they created. They create these wars to thin the herd. They're trying to thin the herd right now. If you look what's going on, something called the Great Reset's happening, and it happens every 100 years. You know, in 1920, we had the Spanish flu, and everybody was wearing face diapers and getting jib jabs, and everybody died. Like 40 or 60 million people died. I think it was more than that. 1820, cholera. 1720, the plague. So every 100 years, they like to do what they call a culling.
As I sit here and listen to what you're talking about, it very much reminds me of a book I read once by the gentleman by the name of Cooper. And the book was called Behold the Pale Horse.
Oh, yeah. He's the man.
Yes,
Bill Cooper.
Yeah, Bill Cooper predicted his own death.
Yep.
He also predicted 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
We've had Mark Jacobson on multiple times, quite a good friend of the show, to discuss and break down a lot of what Bill Cooper said back in the day to be true or not to be true, and to get his view of what he would think possibly of what the Rona brought. You know, is that a reset for us? UFOs, obviously. But to get back to, that's a whole, I mean, so.
Well, believing that UFOs are coming from distant stars and distant planets, the closest one being 25 trillion miles away, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. Okay. 25 trillion miles is a distance you can't even fathom. When in fact, they could just be coming from the extra terra, more land, extra territory, extraterrestrials could be coming from this outer space and moving in. You could leave your wife in the morning after breakfast, come abduct somebody, probe them, and make it back for dinner. Okay? You're not traveling cosmic distances because they don't exist. Everything is here within the Earth system. Are there other dimensions here? Sure, maybe. Are there things below us? Probably. You know, they can't get deeper than 7.5, 8 miles. That's the deepest they can go, and they hit an impenetrable barrier. So what's down there? Maybe there's a denser world there, and maybe there's a etheric world right above us. Different layers.
Ooh.
Crazy. Here's a map from 10 centuries ago, Japanese map, showing, 30 other continents outside of Antarctica. What's up with that?
Where do they find those at? I mean, obviously they must have sailed to them.
Maybe. Yeah. There's a story called the Iron Republic. I highly recommend that you look it up. It's in the app under What About Antarctica? And it's a story about people in the 1600s getting tired of the tyranny. Imagine that, tyranny. And they went to Antarctica and they found a passage through, and they came out on the other side and they found more land with advanced civilization. This was in the late 1800s. And they're talking about flat screen TVs, electric cars, hovercraft, all sorts of technology that they were talking about in the late 1800s. We're told to believe that we're at the pinnacle of intelligence. We have become idiocracy. It's the opposite. There was advanced, look at the old buildings that they say were built in the 1800s with horses and buggies. We couldn't build those buildings today. There was an advanced worldwide civilization here called Tartaria. Look it up. It's also in the app.
All these things that you have given us obviously are like 6 different shows within the show. I mean, yes. Each one of those topics or different places that you have talked about this evening are mind-blowing.
Everything I talked about is in the app. You can find it. Just hit the web button in the app. Everything is linked in there. Just people like, I'm not spending $3 on an app. I want my apps for free. Well, if you get an app for free, you're the product. Okay. You're the product. This will save you. I say in 500 hours of researching flat Earth, if you had the fortitude to do it, you'd probably find a couple of hours worth of good stuff, and the rest would be garbage just searching yourself. So my app is going to save you 497 hours, right, out of that 500. Right. And if that's not worth your $3, then maybe flat Earth isn't for you.
As we wrap things up here with Dave Weiss from the podcast, The Flat Earth, Where can everyone find you? And let's wrap things up. Where can they find you in your app?
So my podcast is called The Flat Earth Podcast. That's the full name, The Flat Earth Podcast. The website, theflatearthpodcast.com, theflatearthpodcast.com. My Instagram, The Flat Earth Podcast. My YouTube channel is different. It's the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, just DITRH. DITRH. I have lots of short videos right there. Plenty of content right there. You just start going through my short videos and you'll be like, whoa. And Flat Earth is such an amazing topic. The community of Flat Earthers are amazing, amazing people. And you know, like if you have a significant other, a kid, whatever, and you're running out of things to talk about, you know, you talk about sports. Well, sports are pretty much over. Weather, you know, what else are you talking about? A little fishing, maybe. Start studying Flat Earth together. Everyone watch the daily video every day and then have a discussion about it later in the day. Hey, did you see the video today? What'd you think? Bam, bam, bam. You will never run out of things to talk about. Flat Earth is the most amazing topic ever because it unleashes who you really are. You're not on a spinning speck flying through an infinite universe, powerless, where an asteroid could take you out at any moment. You're here in the center of creation. Your mind creates your reality. The only control people have over you is in your mind. It's not their fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. Okay. Nobody has control over you other than what you imagine they have. So there you go.
On that note, again, thank you so much for your time. You're going to have to come back. I think we just scratched the surface.
We didn't even scratch the surface.
Well,
the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay. It's linked on the flatearthpodcast.com. And don't let them control your mind with cartoons because that's what they're doing. And they've dumbed us down enough. But here's the thing. Your common sense is way stronger than you believe. Okay? You have common sense. Look outside. Imagine all of those motions. And then imagine the earth stationary and solid and never moving. Your spirit lifts immediately because that's the truth. Your soul knows the truth. Your soul is the piece of God you have within you. And you're here expanding the mind of the creator, right? Your soul knows the truth, but your conscious mind has been hijacked by the news. They're steering your mind with the news, north, east, west, south. They're steering your mind with news, which is nonsense, right? So take back your divinity, take back your common sense, take back your power, unplug from the matrix, because that's the friggin' truth. And when you get your true power back, think about Neo at the beginning of the movie and Neo at the end of the movie when he figured out who he was, he unplugged, he stopped feeding the system. He was pretty much happy. He was a lot happier back then. So there you go.
That is Dave Weiss from the podcast, The Flat Earth Podcast. You can find them at theflatearthpodcast.com.
Yep.
And we will see you again soon. It's an honor and a privilege to have you come on the show. So thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thanks, Mario.
Thank you. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock App, a dynamic new app to teach family and friends about where they actually live. The sky is a perfect clock. The sun measures the hours and days. The moon measures the weeks and months. The star constellations measure the seasons and years. 12/12 or 24-hour clock face, or go hands-free. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app with new added features. World Time. See what time it is all around the flat Earth. A true Earth compass that shows true navigation across and around the flat Earth plane. Weather. Tap for detailed local weather information. Know what phase and where the moon is at all times. Watch the sun travel between the tropics for the seasons. Select an amazing background. Add your own or have the app change it to a new one automatically every time you use the app. Add a countdown to your next big date. Learn the truth about our world with the featured video of the day. Web button for additional flat Earth related features, from the mythical curve calculator all the way to Tartaria. While talking to friends, easily pull up pictures that expose the globe lie and shine light on the flat Earth truth. Video playlists in different languages. See the real trade winds circling the flat Earth, and clean screen features. Simply click off the items you don't wish to see. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app is the best tool to show your friends and strangers how our flat Earth actually works.